Imagine a nurse, wrongfully accused, standing tall against injustice, while her father, a retired federal agent, fights to uncover the truth. This is Celeste Monroe's story, a tale of courage, silence, and unbreakable resolve that will leave you inspired. Hit that like button, subscribe to Story Hub, and join us as we share powerful true stories that demand to be heard. Don't miss this one. Let's dive in. Celeste Monroe's story. Celeste Monroe was no criminal. She was a dedicated nurse, a devoted mother, and a silent pillar of her community. But when a white officer wrongly charged her with forging a prescription, he made a critical error. He assumed she had no one to defend her. What he didn't realize was that her father, a retired federal agent who once exposed corruption from within, was now on a mission for justice. How far would a father go when the system tries to crush his daughter and overlooks the man who shaped him? Share what you would do in the comments. Now, let's unfold this compelling story. A video still grips viewers, making their jaws tighten. A black woman in scrubs, pinned against a patrol car's hood, handcuffed, silent, her stethoscope still hanging from her neck. Her badge reads, Celeste Monroe, RN. A white officer yells in her ear. Another looks uncertain, while a voice behind the camera shakes. She's a nurse. She didn't steal anything. Why are you doing this? The footage cuts to black as her eyes meet the lens. Steady, not fearless, but familiar with the sting of unfairness. Hours earlier, it was just another exhausting day. At dusk, Savannah's golden sky faded as Celeste Monroe pulled into the lot outside Terry's pharmacy. Her hands shook slightly from fatigue. After 14 hours on the trauma ward, the weight of countless lives lingered on her. She didn't remove her badge. No time. She just needed her medication. The pharmacy door chimed as she entered. The place was nearly empty. Soft jazz played overhead. The tiles squeaked under her steps. Familiar, quiet, almost too still. Stacy Bell stood behind the counter, hair in a tight bun, smile even tighter. She barely acknowledged Celeste. "Hello," Celeste said, polite but weary. She slid her prescription, insurance card, and ID across the counter. "I'm here for my Lenopril refill." Stacy scanned the documents, her lips twitching. Then, wordlessly, she pressed a silent alarm under the counter. Celeste noticed it, felt it. A shift, the kind you only sense if you've faced it before, a quiet that tightens like a trap. From the corner of her eye, she saw a white man, early 60s, drop his prescription slip and leave without a word. "Is something wrong?" Celeste asked. "No," Stacy replied quickly. "Just checking something." Celeste took a breath, watching Stacy fumble with labels in a drawer. "You sure?" "Yes," Stacy snapped, then softened. "Just routine," she said, avoiding Celeste's gaze. Then a door slammed behind her. 2 officers entered. Officer Brent Keller, broad, confident, already annoyed, and Officer Jason Lott, young, tense, scanning everything twice. Keller approached, acting like he'd already written the story. "Ma'am, we got a call. Step outside," he said. "For what?" Celeste asked, voice low. Stacy pointed, her words sharp with accusation. "She tried to use someone else's prescription. She's lying about her name." "That's false," Celeste said calmly. "My name's on the bottle. My ID's right there." Lott hesitated, glancing at the counter. 2 slips sat there, one for Harold Green, one for Celeste Monroe. Stacy had placed them deliberately. Keller didn't check. He stepped closer. "Turn around, ma'am." "No," Celeste said, calm but firm. "I haven't done anything." Keller's face hardened. "Don't play games. We won't ask again." He grabbed her arm. "Wait," Lott muttered, stepping forward. "Maybe we should?" But Keller cut him off. "We're not debating in a Walgreens." He seized Celeste's wrist. "Sir, please stop," she said. He didn't. He spun her roughly, and cold metal snapped around her wrist. Someone near the counter shouted, "She's a nurse at St. Matthews. I know her. What are you doing?" Celeste didn't resist, didn't scream, didn't flinch. Her other wrist was cuffed. The officer pushed her toward the door. Outside, phones were already recording. As the cuffs bit into her skin, Celeste kept her eyes on the horizon. Not the crowd, not the officers, just forward. "Stay quiet, baby girl," her father once told her. Not out of fear, but to watch. They never expect the quiet ones to rise. She recalled it clearly. Leon Monroe, her father, used to sit at their kitchen table in his FBI windbreaker, reading reports by candlelight, distrusting the streetlights outside. She hadn't called him yet. She didn't need to, because when someone like Celeste goes silent in a moment like this, the story is just starting. The onlookers had no clue who they were dealing with. The pharmacy's fluorescent lights buzzed faintly, as if sensing something was wrong. Officer Brent Keller stood wide-legged, gripping Celeste's arm like she might bolt, though she hadn't moved since the cuffs clicked. His chest puffed out, voice loud for the growing crowd. "This is her," he said, nodding at the phone cameras. "Caught scamming. Prescription fraud. Textbook case." Officer Jason Lott lingered nearby, nervous. He wasn't convinced, but he didn't stop it. Inside, Stacy Bell pointed through the glass door, her face indignant. "That's her," she called. "She used someone else's prescription. I stopped her just in time." No evidence, no questions, just accusations. Celeste faced Stacy, eyes calm. "I'm Celeste Monroe. The prescription is mine. My ID and insurance are on your counter." Keller scoffed. "Sure it is. Convenient, huh? Got a matching name and all." He leaned in, mocking. "Bet you're in healthcare, too." She didn't respond. She didn't need to. A woman across the street started a live stream. It captured everything. Celeste Monroe, a middle-aged black nurse in scrubs, pressed against a police cruiser under dim yellow light. The officer's hand pressed between her shoulder blades. The cuffs gleamed on her wrists. Her body was composed, but her jaw's tension told another story. A voice behind the phone whispered, "Y'all." She didn't raise her voice. "They just cuffed her." Keller pulled her arm. "You walking, or am I carrying you?" Celeste spoke, her voice soft but piercing. "This isn't the first time, but it might be the last." Jason Lott blinked, truly seeing her for the first time. No panic, no confusion, just resolve. It unnerved him more than a scream would have. The squad car door yanked open. Keller shoved Celeste inside, slamming it shut. He faced the cameras. "This is what happens when you steal meds," he declared. "Doesn't matter who you are." Inside the car, Celeste acted quietly. She raised her cuffed wrists just enough to tap her smartwatch against the seatbelt latch. 3 taps, hold, 2 more, then 2. SOS activated. The screen flashed red briefly, then went dark. That was enough. 3 states away, near Asheville's quiet ridges, Leon Monroe chopped wood behind a cabin older than the Vietnam War. His black German shepherd, Cairo, perked up. A faint hum came from the porch. His phone buzzed, a short, single vibration. He froze. Few had that signal. Only one still used it, his daughter. He dropped the axe before the second buzz. Back in the squad car, Celeste sat silently, eyes on the road. Keller and Lott got in front. Keller cranked the police radio, smirking. Dispatch, 1 female suspect, black, late 50s, attempted prescription fraud at Terry's pharmacy. Celeste spoke softly but firmly. "Don't lie on that radio. You didn't check any documents." Keller turned, half laughing. "You don't get to lecture me, lady." Lott glanced at Keller, then at Celeste in the rearview mirror. "Sir," he said cautiously, "her ID was on the counter. Maybe we should—" "Let me do my job," Keller snapped, "or go back to parking tickets." The air grew heavy. Celeste leaned back, voice low. "Ever wonder what happens when someone remembers every word you say?" Keller laughed. "Report me? To who?" "I'm the report." She didn't reply, but far away, a retired federal agent grabbed his keys, and the tide had turned. They didn't wait for evidence. They didn't hear her side. By the time Celeste entered the station, their minds were made up. Cold protocol greeted her. Her purse was taken, her wrists uncuffed briefly for photos, then bound again. A white female officer, distant but not cruel, stood behind the camera. "Turn. Face front." "Side," she said, her voice routine. No one met her eyes. No one asked her name. She wasn't Celeste, the nurse. Just case number 80, 8,749, tagged for medical fraud. Her fingerprints were taken next. The scanner hummed as her fingers pressed down, one by one. No gloves, no care, just procedure. She didn't resist or flinch. Her silence unnerved Jason Lott, who stood in the corner, arms crossed tightly, shifting his weight, wanting to speak but unsure how. When she looked at him, their eyes met briefly. It wasn't anger or fear in her gaze. It was knowing. Jason looked away. In a nearby room filled with monitors and wires, Andre Knox, the IT tech, watched the booking. He'd seen it all, stayed quiet, but knew when something was off. Celeste's file didn't match the urgency of her arrest. The woman on the pharmacy footage looked tired, not deceptive. He plugged in a flash drive. No one saw. In the holding cell, Celeste sat in a bare room, a bench, a drain, and a flickering light that buzzed like it held secrets. She closed her eyes, letting the stillness settle. The cold didn't bother her. The weight of what was coming did. Her mind drifted to a night 4 years ago. A crash on I-90, a storm, screams, flashing lights, a girl bleeding in a back seat while officers froze. Celeste, driving home from a shift, stopped. She bandaged the girl's chest, slowed the bleeding, kept her alive until help arrived. The girl, Lily Keller, survived. Celeste never spoke of it. Now, alone, the irony stung. She'd saved a life tied to the family, now trying to ruin hers. A soft clink broke her thoughts. A water bottle rolled under the bars. Beyond it stood Officer Tanya Mayfield, a black woman in her 40s, her posture speaking volumes. Their eyes met briefly. Tanya gave a subtle nod and walked away. Celeste didn't say thanks. She didn't need to. In the hallway, Jason Lott scrolled his phone. The live stream of Celeste's arrest had 11,000 views. Comments flooded in. "She's someone's mom. This isn't justice. It's humiliation." "She's like my aunt. I'm sick." Hashtags emerged. # justice for nurse. # not another name. # Celeste Monroe. Jason's stomach churned. She didn't even raise her voice, he muttered. Footsteps interrupted. Keller passed by, still smug, still certain. In holding, Celeste rubbed her temple, her smartwatch pressing against her cheek. She didn't know how long it would take or who would care. But she knew her father was trained to uncover lies in places like this. When her SOS reached him, justice became personal. In the Blue Ridge Mountains, silence broke with a buzz. Leon Monroe, on his porch with a paperback, didn't flinch. The vibration cut through like a siren. His watch flashed SOS. He didn't panic. Inside his cabin, he moved with precision, every step deliberate, like a man still on duty, just in different clothes. He pulled a key from behind a painting of his late wife, opened a steel cabinet under the floorboards. Inside were old files, marked, weathered, classified before digital erasures. He stopped at one. Brent Keller. His jaw tightened. 12 years ago, he'd flagged Keller for racial bias, falsified arrests, and aggression toward minorities during a corruption sweep. Higher-ups buried it. Keller's uncle was a powerful sheriff. Leon stared at the yellowed file. "Not this time," he muttered. He dialed his phone. One ring, two, then a familiar voice. "Raja," she said. "Dana, it's Leon." A pause. "Been a while." "No small talk," he said calmly. "I need federal eyes on a Georgia case. A nurse, Celeste Monroe, my daughter." Dana's tone shifted. "What happened?" "Framed. Public arrest. No evidence. I've got Keller's file. Time to burn it." Dana sighed. "You sure?" He paused. "This time, we act. No passes." Across from him was a photo of Celeste at 11, standing by a chalkboard of legal terms. Due process, Miranda rights, probable cause. Arms crossed, chin high, she looked fierce. That day, he taught her the law. Not stories, but how to read a warrant. Speak to power without shouting. She needed vocabulary, not volume. "If they yell," he'd said, "you raise the Constitution." Leon grabbed his old charcoal gray suit jacket, untouched for a decade, smelling of briefings and war rooms. He buttoned it slowly, stepping back into a past self he didn't want, but would embrace for her. In the mirror, he saw a man with unfinished business. He touched his badge, not to show, but to remember. Truth's oath never expires. At the door, he whispered, "They framed the wrong woman." Outside, the air grew heavy. Clouds curled like fists. Thunder rumbled closer. He climbed into his Jeep, the engine growling with purpose. Tires crunched gravel as he drove off, the wind bending trees as if bracing for what was coming. Leon didn't speed. Justice would arrive on time, wearing his face. The screen faded to black, freezing on his reflection in the rearview mirror. Eyes steel gray, focused, not angry or afraid, just a man ready to bury another lie. You felt it before you saw him. Savannah Police Headquarters, usually alive with phones and shouts, went silent. Leon Monroe walked in, tall, deliberate, holding a worn folder and an earned authority. He didn't raise his voice or show a badge, but eyes followed him like he carried gravity. Behind him was Dana Rivera, her blazer sharp as her gaze, with 2 DOJ agents. They didn't stop at the desk. No one asked for IDs. Leon's voice was too calm. "We're here under federal directive. I need all arrest reports, dispatch logs, and pharmacy footage from the last 48 hours. The clerk blinked. "Talk to the captain." Rivera cut in. "Now." A junior officer ran down the hall. In holding, a metal door creaked. Celeste stepped out. Wrists bruised purple from cuffs, scrubs wrinkled, back straight. She scanned the room, her gaze steady. When she met Leon's eyes, she didn't cry or blink, just nodded slightly, then looked away. That nod said, "Your turn." Leon passed her, touching her shoulder lightly. No words, just presence. Then came Keller's voice. Well, he said, leaning on a desk like he owned it. "She's good. Most cry." She played it like a pro. Leon didn't look at him, handing the file to Rivera. "For doing my job?" Rivera was unmoved. "False reporting, racial profiling, obstruction, manipulating records, under oath." Stacy's voice rose. "I followed orders." Leon stepped in. "Orders, or what you thought was okay." She froze, then was cuffed. No fight, just silence. Keller sat, arms crossed, until Rivera said, "Sergeant Keller, stand." He didn't. "Now," she repeated. He stood slowly, rolling his eyes. "This is a circus," he muttered. She had the DOJ and her connected daddy. "That's justice?" Leon stepped closer. "You got away in Chicago, left a nurse in tears. Case buried. Not this time. Not with my daughter." He leaned in. I was watching. Keller's jaw tightened. "She's not special." Leon tilted his head. "Exactly. She shouldn't have to be." Rivera stood. "Remove your badge and weapon, Sergeant, now." Keller hesitated, then snapped. "You think you can ruin me? I've got a union, a lawyer. I'll sue you all." Leon cut in. "Good. Let's go to court. Let the nation see what the badge means in the wrong hands." Keller glared at Rivera. "Your badge," she repeated. He ripped it off, the clink echoing. He slammed his sidearm down, pointed at Rivera. "You'll regret this." She didn't flinch. "The regret is how long this took." As agents escorted Keller out, Leon eyed the badge on the table. Cold, meaningless. He turned to Rivera. "One down." She nodded. "The system's roots run deep. We keep digging." Celeste stepped out of the precinct, wrists bruised, face framed by gray curls and quiet dignity. The crowd erupted, phones up, voices breaking with joy. "There she is," a woman screamed. Celeste didn't react, just walked, each step saying, "I survived. I'm here. I'm not afraid." A woman, about 70, broke through the tape, grabbed Celeste's hand, eyes wet. "You're like who I used to be, silent too long." Celeste held her hand warmly. "Speak now. Let them hear." That night, the footage spread. News used resilience and wrongfully accused. But they missed the deeper shift Celeste sparked. 2 days later, in a coffee shop turned community hub, Marcus Dean, a civil rights attorney, leaned across a worn table. His briefcase stayed closed, his eyes open. "We're launching the Silent Justice Alliance," he said, "for nurses, teachers, veterans, moms, punished for staying calm, knowing the law, not shouting." Celeste shook her head. "I'm not who you think, Marcus." He smiled. "That's why we need you." She stared at her tea, steam curling like unspoken thoughts. "I didn't plan this. I just wanted to go home." Marcus nodded. "But you stayed, endured. Now others believe they can too." No spotlight, just 2 people birthing something bigger. By the weekend, people found her. Not reporters, but ordinary folks. A young man strip-searched at college for looking suspicious. A woman fired for reporting harassment. A teen told she was too articulate for her neighborhood. They brought pain. Celeste gave silence, listening fully. Someone asked, "How do you bear the anger?" Her voice was soft. "I don't. I hold it so it doesn't spill." She paused. "I can't fix it all or go everywhere. But I can stay here, and maybe something starts." Andre arrived the next day, placing an envelope beside her. Every buried report, body cam audit, complaint. Celeste looked up. He exhaled shakily. "I resigned." She blinked. "You didn't have to?" He smiled faintly. "I did. Staying would mean patching their leaks. I want to help you flood the room." She touched the envelope. "Sure?" He nodded. "No more hiding. I want to build something open." Her voice cracked slightly. "Then let's build here." That night, her porch light stayed on. People sat on steps, curbs, and chairs they brought. No slogans, just stories, shared and woven. Celeste sat among them. Not a hero, not seeking to be. Yet she became a witness, a wound, a voice, her silence louder than any mic. The city council chamber was packed, not like election nights or post-flood meetings, but with anticipation, guilt, recognition. Cameras lined the walls, mics hung from rails, reporters whispered headlines. At the front, under George's seal, a name was spoken clearly. "We address the wrongful detainment of Nurse Celeste Monroe." The mayor, in a gray suit and red tie, voice tense, spoke. "On behalf of the city and its failed institutions, we apologize to Nurse Monroe and all who felt unseen, unheard, unjustly treated." He looked up. "Celeste Monroe, please join us." She rose. No music, just her steps to the mic. No papers, no script, yet the room held its breath. She paused, then spoke. I'm Celeste Monroe, nurse, mother, citizen. She faced the council. I shouldn't need a federal agent to be believed, a lawyer to get my meds, or bruises to be seen. Gasps echoed. Eyes dropped. My case wasn't the worst, she said, but it's the kind that keeps happening. To the quiet, the patient, the polite who get punished. The mayor swallowed. A councilwoman's tear fell.